Hi Victoria, I am recording a feedback video for your problem solution draft. The purpose of this video is to kind of address your overall approach to the assignment criteria of the problem solution paper and to give you just some general revision suggestions. I won't be focusing at all. I might point out one or two things, but like sentence level concerns like grammar, punctuation, I'm kind of leaving that up to you to kind of fine tune it and polish it and that type of thing. But I might point something out if I see it happen over and over. But I've looked through your paper, and as you can see, I've got it pulled up on my computer, and your just for APA in your header, you have running head, which is great, but the running head does not get capitalized. So, but everything else looks great in the header part and on your cover page. And for your abstract, this does not get boldface. It's just like that. And so then I'm going to move on to your actual paper. So you do want to go ahead and indent all of your paragraphs. I'm not going to do them all, but that's just the APA way. Organizationally, I think you've done a good job because it's very clear what you're talking about because you've broken it up into sections. The first thing I'm going to talk about is your introduction. So you've got your introduction here, and then you have defining the problem. What I'm going to recommend is that you actually join these together and then edit for concision to make it a slightly shorter paragraph, so that maybe the paragraph only takes up like 3/4 of the page rather than a full page. So you're focusing on sexual assault or sexual harassment in the workplace, essentially, which is a perfectly fine topic to talk about for the problem solution paper. And you follow the organization of the paper well, right? You talk about, why does it need solving, defining potential solutions, and then offering a kind of, this is the best solution to this particular problem. So in terms of the introduction, what I would recommend doing is, I like how you start it, how you kind of have this scenario which goes through here, I believe. So, and what you can do is there's some things where you can just, and when we do editing for concision, you can just kind of take some things out where your meaning is still there, and like the meaning of the writing is still there, but you're just saying it in fewer words. So like, this probably can go, and then another thing is now that I joined the paragraphs, it's harder for me to find, but I think it's these two sentences here are very similar in what they talk about. So because in this one, you say, how is it that every day someone is being taken advantage of from someone they are supposed to trust and listen to? And then you have every day someone is taking full advantage of their titles in the work fields by, emotionally, physically, mentally, and sometimes even sexually harming those below them in rank. So I actually think the second sentence is the stronger sentence in terms of the overall meaning, but they are very similar in their ideas. So you can eliminate that the sentence. So, and then, because what you want to do in the introduction is you want to do the thing where you define the problem in the introduction as well. So the introduction should be an introduction to the problem, providing evidence of the problem to corroborate that it is in fact a problem, and then kind of talking about, and then having a thesis statement where you just say, like, this is a problem that needs a solution, or like a potential solution for this problem is blankety blank, right? And the thesis then would contain kind of the idea that you have in your call to action or the paragraph where you talk about the best solution. So, so it's good that you start it, but again, probably in terms of the introduction, you can probably, because now that kind of scenario, I've got it down to there, you can probably just make it like 3 sentences, and I think the meaning will still come across. And we definitely want to keep this last sentence because I think that transitions really nicely into where you talk more specifically about the problem. So this question can probably go, and then I would say this one can probably go as well because it's not necessarily universal. So as you can see, I'm making it slightly shorter and shorter. But then you go into, but that's kind of what I would recommend doing for your introduction. And then you go into, astonishingly men and women go to work, and then you don't need, this is a comma you don't need here. Men and women go to work every day and dread seeing their managers in, and I wouldn't say, you want to hedge here, so many men and women, so it's not all men and women. And you can just say people, you don't have to, that's an editing for concision. Go to work every day and dread seeing their managers in fear of being in a position where they must choose between their self-worth and being financially stable. There are some managers in the world that we live in today that know people that work for them can be taken advantage of. That's a little bit, this sentence here has a little bit of awkward phrasing in it. Essentially what you're saying is you're saying that there's some managers that can identify workers who are more susceptible to abuse and then indulge in their management positions. So this is an area where you would edit for concision to make to keep the idea, but then say it in a shorter way. So you can say like, some managers can identify employees who may be more susceptible and I might say, and these managers, and then we would go down here and then eliminate that. I might say exploit. If I could spell exploit, that would be great. Here we go. Something like that. And then they, just because we're talking about victims and perpetrators, the they can be a little confusing. So I actually don't think that's needed even. I think you can just go straight into this quotation here, and you don't need that comma there. You just need the period that you have here. Managers can emotionally take advantage of someone by belittling them because they know they won't stand up for the, again, we have 2 subjects. We've got the managers and, well, we have subjects and objects, but it can be confusing when we have a vague pronoun. So, managers won't stand up for themselves. Some people that are above another in rank can physically take advantage of someone. Right, so here you're identifying the different ways in which managers, right, can take advantage of people. Managers can emotionally take advantage of someone by belittling them. They can physically take advantage of someone by abusing them because they feel threatened. and they can mentally abuse someone by toying with their minds with empty promises and false hope. Yeah. I think you can join those all into one sentence. I would say something like, not i.e., we want e.g., for example. Sorry, I'm just trying to... I keep getting not my parallelism wrong. Okay. And then you say, in worst case scenarios, a manager can sexually abuse an employee because they know the employee needs money to, it's underlining because it wants to be like that, needs money to survive. Sexual abusers are the worst type of abuser because in sexual abuse, I think you mean the abusers. What did I miss? Yes, I got rid of target. Target every abuse. Emotional, physical, and mental. Okay. So that's kind of what I would recommend. There's still some work that could be done in terms of editing for concision to make it a little bit shorter, but hopefully that makes more sense in terms of what I'm doing. So there's like a little bit of a scenario here to get the reader into what you're talking about, and then you start addressing here the problem more explicitly, providing some evidence for that, and then talking about the different types of abuse that can take place, and then ending with sexual abuse. Okay, so that's kind of what my overall notes for your introduction would be. So then you go into, but like I said, there's more editing for concision that could be done to make that shorter, but it would take me, sorry, I put the period there in the wrong place. It would take me, that type of work. Editing for concision takes a little bit of time. So then you go into explain why the problem needs solving.